Hey guys, Alec DeLelio here. Welcome to Guitar Fundamentals. Today we're going to be going over Fingerpicking 101. Fingerpicking is an absolutely crucial tool for any guitarist. It's something that I use all the time. If you guys have seen any of my covers, you'll know that I actually rarely use a pick. I fingerpick the majority of the time, and that's because I think that it makes my playing a lot more interesting. I just personally, it became a big part of my style as a guitarist early on. So I'm excited to share some of these tips with you guys. So to get started, before we actually get into the finger picking or any of the picking exercises that I want to review, first things first, you guys should practice with a metronome. For those of you who aren't familiar, a metronome is a practice tool for musicians that allows you to set a tempo, and the metronome keeps the beat for you, so you can make sure that as you're practicing, you're staying on beat. You can either download a free metronome app, get a free metronome online, or you can purchase one from your local music store, whatever you guys prefer. So that's number one. Number two, you got to make sure that you're holding the guitar properly. So for me, this means, you want to make sure that your elbow here comes over the ridge of the guitar, and is actually kind of holding your arm in place here, right, for stability. And you want this part of your kind of wrist and palm here to rest either on the bridge of the guitar there, or maybe, this part of your thumb here will rest on the body of the guitar, just above the strings. Whatever it is that allows you guys to feel, like your strumming hand, your picking hand here is stable, that's going to be really important because you're using all of your fingers and you need to keep that balance. So, again, I prefer to use the bridge of the guitar here. And if you look, my wrist isn't moving at all. I've got that stability, the range of motion in my hand is wide open. So I would recommend doing that, figuring out what works for you to hold that hand steady. And one more thing, you want to check your thumb position, right? Because you're going to be using your thumb here to pick the bass notes of whatever chord it is that you're picking. So you don't want your thumb to be, right on the same plane with all your other fingers because it'll get in the way. So what I like to do is just make like a thumbs up here, turn it sideways. And then if you do that, your thumb is going to be a little bit ahead of the rest of your fingers, right? And that makes it easier to use your thumb without getting in the way of, any of your other fingers that are also going to be heavily involved in the finger picking. Cool. So now that that's all taken care of, we're going to get into the actual picking exercises. So what I want you guys all to do is to pick a chord that you're most comfortable with. I would recommend maybe a C chord, a D, E minor is a good one. We're going to use a C chord for the purpose of this lesson, but it would work with any chord. So for C chord, you've got your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string here. That's going to be your root note. Your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. You've got an open G string, and your index finger on the 1st fret of the B string. So you're playing these 4 middle strings. And basically, you're going to be, like I said, using your thumb for the root note on the A string, and I'm using my index, middle, and ring fingers to play the following 3 strings. So basically, you're going to use your metronome here, set it to a nice, comfortable tempo, maybe 60 or 70 BPM. I'm going to go with 70. Turn it on. And you're just going to pick quarter notes through each note of the chord. So basically, that'll look like this. And then down. Might seem basic, but what you're doing here, you're training your sense of rhythm and you're building muscle memory. You can go double time too. 2, 3, 4. You can also switch between chords. So I'm going to go between a C and an A minor here. But you guys can do that exercise with any chord. So anytime you learn a new chord shape or learn a new chord progression, I would recommend, turning your metronome on and trying to just finger pick through it. And the more you do that, even if you just do this for 2 or 3 minutes, every time you pick up the guitar, you'll be over time training your muscle memory, training your sense of rhythm, and that's going to be really important for you, as you move forward as a guitarist. So once you've done that basic exercise, you're going to want to start thinking about establishing a practice routine for yourself. So like I said, you can, use multiple chords here. So let's say you've just finished learning all the open chords. So you can play a G chord, a C chord, and an F chord. I'm going to have tabs and chord diagrams for all of these chords in the description of this video. But these are great ones to practice with because the G chord, your root note is on the low E string, here on the 3rd fret. For the C chord that we just went over, your root note is on the 3rd fret of the A string. And for an F chord, your root note is on the 3rd fret of the D string. So, maybe you are comfortable with those chords and you want to just really drill them. So you can play through quarter notes of each of those chords. You can play through 8th notes, but these are really good ones to practice with because you're switching from having the root note on the E string to the A string to the D string. So here's how that might look. So watch my thumb here. So notice as I go between those 3 chords that my thumb, because again, the thumb is what you're using for the root note, switches from one string to the next. That's a really good exercise to, make sure that you're able to play through all 6 strings and just to, become more comfortable finger picking. So I would recommend doing that, going through the quarter notes, 8th notes, varying the tempo. Maybe 70 is too fast for you just getting started. You can do 55 or 60, or maybe you want to go even faster. So just, vary the tempo with your metronome, see what works for you. Start out with whatever chords that you're most comfortable with, but as you become more comfortable with the finger picking, incorporate more complex chords and more complex patterns. So I've kind of only reviewed that pattern of playing straight through the chord. That's pretty intuitive. We're just playing up and down the chord. But another great pattern, for example, is this. And basically what I'm doing there is I'm playing first through the chord. So with a C, I'm playing A, D, G, B strings. And then I'm going A, G, D, B. So and that's a great pattern. So, once you get the hang of that with the C chord, you can do the same thing. Bring in some other chords. So that would look like this. Still on 70 BPM, by the way, here. So that's another great exercise. There are obviously countless finger picking patterns that you guys can try out. These are just a few basic ones and a few basic exercises. But I hope this is helpful for you guys as an introduction. If you have specific questions about finger picking, or if you have requests for guitar tutorials on specific songs, let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to be posting a lot more lessons in the coming weeks, so definitely don't hesitate to let me know what you're looking for. And I also offer one-on-one private lessons via video, so definitely feel feel free to sign up as well if you'd like to go deeper and, spend some one-on-one time. The link is going to be in the description. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you and I hope you have a great day.